Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, listeners, and now viewers from coast to coast and worldwide. Welcome to the Hagmann and Hagmann Report. This is a live broadcast. Today is Friday, the 3rd day of August 2012. I'm Doug Hagmann. I'm the founder and director of the Northeast Intelligence Network, located on the internet at HomelandSecurityUS.com. With me to my left, if you can see us, is Joe Hagmann. He's my son. He's the co-host of the Hagmann and Hagmann Report. Hey, good to have you here.
Glad to be here. I wanted to open the show today by eating a Chick-fil-A sandwich.
The bag?
But I did not eat since breakfast, and I went and bought the sandwich and the meal, and it looked so good.
Didn't make it home.
I ate the sandwich before I got home. And I just want to say thank you to Mayor Rahm Emanuel for prompting me to go to Chick-fil-A and buy a meal from them and support a business who will support traditional marriage and also be the one not to be afraid to say what he supports. But the thing that gets me about this is what Rahm Emanuel said about how Chick-fil-A as in their values, because they support same-sex marriage, the traditional biblical definition of marriage, that it makes Chicago look bad. It makes the people of Chicago. It doesn't go with their beliefs, he says. And what they have done now is it's turned into a big political issue, and it ended up having Appreciation Day. Yep. Chick-fil-A did. Everybody went there and bought a bunch of chicken food, had good meals, and the next day, they staged a kiss-in, and I think that was today or yesterday. What the homosexuals wanted to do was go into Chick-fil-A, as we talked about it last night, disrupt the flow of the business by staging kissing.
Commerce.
And I didn't hear, a lot of reports of. I saw a report of vandalism. I saw at one Chick-fil-A, but I did not hear, except on Rick Wild's show, where he talked about some kind of lewd sexual act happening at a Chick-fil-A, and there was just a Christian parade, or not a parade, but a festival outside of in North Carolina, Asheville, North Carolina. We covered this on the show, where they were encountered with people who were running up to them and screaming profanities. Yeah. There were sexual acts being committed in front of police, in front of these people, to disrupt this Christian festival, and the police were watching it, letting it go. Vandalism, the scoffers and mockers were out in full force. And as Rahm Emanuel, we're going to play a clip from Pastor Begley in a little bit here, and his view on this, and I think it's worth playing. We're going to get into Syria first.
Yeah, wait a second before you jump ship real quick on that. The reason this Chick-fil-A thing is so important, folks, and the reason that we're on this is because of this. This is an attempt to restrain trade. Okay, this is everything that's going on right now is attack on your constitutional rights, our constitutional rights, under the guise of tolerance. The most tolerant, allegedly the most tolerant of cultures, this gay, lesbian, transgendered, whatever, gay stuff.
They say,
it's tolerant.
Don't slam your beliefs down our throats.
That's right.
Don't tell us how to live and behave and what to accept as normal. But at the same time, they want they want to impose their beliefs on you. And if you do not agree with them, then you are the hater. You are the oppressor. It is hypocritical, and it's a good argument from their side. It's a win-win the way they look at it.
But see, again, we're losing our rights to under this color of tolerance. And folks, do not fall for this and do not stand for it. It is it is so important. It's hidden behind this entertainment of Chick-fil-A Day. It's all good stuff, but no, they're trying to change our culture, the moral fabric of America. Yeah. And that's why it's so important.
Living in a generation when it is radical to say traditional marriage is normal.
That's right. Everything's upside down, and then with from Chick-fil-A to Syria. Now I'm okay with the Syria, because this is so important too, folks. 90 days. That's what we got. 90 days. I believe that. I believe that within 90 days, we are going to see, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But based on everything we've seen, I'm going to say within 90 days, it is likely, more than likely, that we're going to see an economic meltdown and war in the Middle East. And I think the war in the Middle East is probably going to be used to divert from the economic meltdown. I'm not sure how that's going to play out because I think it's going to be hard to divert from our attention from that. But we're going to be talking about Syria today. What's controlling Syria? The Illuminati, the Western control, the secret deals that the United States made with Syria or with the Syrian rebels.
Yeah.
Okay.
Barack Obama signed a secret order allowing United States forces and also through other, proxy defense contractors, other countries' defense contractors and agencies, has allowed Western forces to be aligned with Al-Qaeda while fighting in Syria. This article from Al Jazeera, foreign jihad fighters reported in Syria. Video footage suggests the involvement in the Syrian conflict of foreign fighters with sympathies or links to Al-Qaeda. Syrian state television has broadcast images of soldiers battling what they called foreign terrorists. Yes. Amateur videos have also revealed foreign fighters allegedly hoping to wage a religious war in Syria.
No, the United States too has given missiles to Syria, to the rebel fighters.
This has nothing to do with a religious war. This is not, I guess from the point of the Al-Qaeda fighters, they could say it's a religious war, but what this is an overthrow of a rebellious nation that does not go along with what the West, the New World Order, Illuminati plans have for them. They are the rebels, whether you like Assad or not, whether you agree with his tactics or not. He is being attacked, and Iran, is vile as Ahmadinejad is, he is another one who is under the gun of the New World Order and is really the last holdout, because when Iran falls, they will be able to implement their one world economic order through the centralization of having all nations, the centralization of power of all nations' financial institutions. Yeah. And that will make the one world currency dream, that much closer. Whether they implement it right away or not, that's yet to be seen. We know our economy does not looking good. The Federal Reserve's charter that is up at the end of this year, as I understand it, I have not seen any renewal. Will they renew it? Will they just drop the dollar? Will we wake up, one day and have no currency? I don't think they can let that happen. So what are their options? Are they going to go back to gold and silver? I don't think so.
I don't think they can do that.
Are they going to maybe reconsolidate the currencies into a North American Union, or will they go straight for the one world global digital currency?
That's possible. Look,
and a war to kick that off. A war first, take out Iran, kill the economy at the same time, and then say, look, here's the solution. We have this one world currency. This is our only last hope.
That's right.
Bring it all together at once, bringing in the New World Order system and the one world government, one world total control over economic, religion, laws, nations, resources. There will be no more America as we know it, as there really isn't now anyway. But Troy, if you can hear me, if it's possible, I don't know, for you to play that video I sent in that article from Al Jazeera TV. If not, it's okay. We can move on to the pastor's video.
We're going to break at the 20-minute mark for the pastor's video. Folks, listen to this. Watch this.
We are now forming cells for jihad in the name of God, say these men. But they are not hoping to wage religious war in Iraq, Somalia, or Afghanistan, but in Syria. The country's civil war has been played out constantly on YouTube. But while the brutal images of death remain the same, images of the armed uprising are changing. Groups that say they're affiliated with Al-Qaeda fly its flags and say they now have training camps inside the country. They also release videos like these to promote themselves. The opposition say these fighters have nothing to do with the Free Syrian Army.
There are some elements, I'm not going to deny this, we all know that there are some jihadi elements in Syria. I see that in groups that do not claim they're part of the FSA and want to be identified separately. But I do not see that within the FSA.
Since the start of this conflict, President Assad's government has called the Free Syrian Army terrorists. The opposition say that's untrue and politically motivated. But now religious fighters are reported to be coming in from countries like Iraq and Libya, while money is still pouring into Syria to help topple President Assad.
Wonder where that's coming
from. The
U.S.
government recently gave the Syrian Support Group, a Washington-based organization lobbying for the Free Syrian Army, the rights to collect and send money and non-combat equipment to the FSA. Their representative is an ex-NATO advisor.
We're very careful about where these funds would go, where the financing, the logistics would go. We see that the best structure for these funds is to come under the military council structure. We talk to them every day. We vet these people. We know who they are.
Al-Qaeda.
But not everyone knows who all these people are. Some have accused Al-Qaeda in Iraq of moving into Syria in an attempt to stir up a sectarian war. And fears remain that the more religious these Sunni fighters become, the more sectarian this war will be. Jane Ferguson, Al Jazeera.
Now, why are we not getting this information from our local, national, and even regional news sources? Why are they not telling us that our president has signed secret deals giving the Syrian rebel fighters funds? Why are we not being told that they have struck deals with NATO and Western alliances, funneling our taxpayer dollars to fund and support these Al-Qaeda vetted fighters, as that gentleman said? Why are we not being told the truth?
That's very good. I think that was an important video, and if you folks, if you heard this on archive or listening to this on archive, or if you're just listening to this program, the audio was enough. If you notice, however, in the video, you will see the signs of Al Qaeda. You'll see the flags of Al Qaeda, the black flags, and then the green flags of the Muslim Brotherhood, basically.
But there's a problem.
What's that?
There was a lot of white guys in that video. Like
obviously, we've got boots on the ground.
Yeah.
You know, the CIA has boots on the ground in Syria. Okay, that's one thing we have to understand, and also we've got to understand that this is really the Legion of the Antichrist. I mean,
the forces behind
that's right.
This movement, this Arab Spring, this unrest across the country, the economic unrest in the world, the violent unrest in the Middle East.
You understand that the Middle East right now is on fire. It is on fire. That Obama, through being the face, the hand of the Illuminati, of the central bankers, of the bankers of the world, of the people that you know, at the top of the food chain, the Rothschilds
that are setting the agenda.
Rockefeller. That's right. Obama is actually calling the shots on this. Now we're getting a clearer picture here. And we can see that the pieces lining up now.
I mean, it's just like a mafia. You got your bosses, you got the people underneath them, and then you got your underlings. And you know, Obama is an underling. He'd be more a middleman than anything. But what he is doing is carrying out the orders given to him by his masters, and those orders are to overthrow the governments in the Middle East that are not going along with surrendering their gold and resources to the United States and other Western nations.
Well, I have to tell you this, coinciding with what's going on in Syria, folks, you know, and this is very important. This appeared yesterday in Ynet News, and of course in all across Israel, saying that if I were an Iranian, I'd be fearful in the coming weeks. Basically, what this Mossad or former Mossad chief is saying, "Hey, Iran, you've got 12 weeks." Okay, now where does that put us in the clock, Joe? We're 12 weeks from now. Let's see, that's
the beginning of August. We got
that would be
October,
close to about November. Well, yeah, let's see, 3 months, right? So we've got all of August, all of September, all of October. Bingo.
Yeah.
Election time. So within that time, within the 90 days, as I opened up here, that's what I'm saying. We only have about 90 days before really all heck breaks loose in the Middle East. And then, but look, if Iran is attacked, they're going to bomb. They're going to send missiles over to Saudi Arabia. They already got missiles pointed at Riyadh.
What if this attack on Iran does not happen before the elections? What would we expect to see? An economic crisis? A terrorist attack? I mean, you know, would there be something? I mean, is there a possibility of us sailing along to the elections without war economic collapse, or
Yes, so there is. Look, these timelines.
I mean,
look, no. Just make sure you all know that these timelines are what I'm feeling, and I'm talking to different people. I'm not trying to set any timelines, but it seems to fit within that time period. I'm saying that it looks like we have about 90 days. It certainly is very possible that we could go past the elections without any war. We could go past the elections without any type of economic collapse, but I don't know. It just doesn't feel that way.
Yeah, and in the kind of back to what we were talking about with Chick-fil-A, the gay culture community, the open homosexuality acts
bring
in
it back
public.
to the United States. Yeah, okay.
And I'm reading from Jude here, verse 7. It says, "Even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them, in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh, are set forth an example, suffering and vengeance of eternal fire." And it goes on in 18. It says, it goes on to talk about how we should be living. "Keep yourselves in the love of God." I'm sorry, this is 21. "Looking for the mercy of the Lord Jesus Christ unto eternal life. And some have compassion, making a difference, and others save with fear, pulling them out of the fire, hating even the garment spotted by the flesh. Now unto him that is able to keep you from falling, and to present you faultless before the presence of his glory with exceeding joy. To the only wise God our Savior, be glory and majesty, dominion and power, both now and ever. Amen." And what's important there is this. I was addressing this claim because we get called fearmongers sometimes, and in this Jude verse it says, "Some save, some make a difference with compassion, others save with fear, pulling them out of the fire." But I'm not saying we're fearmongers. I'm saying sometimes fear is an emotional trigger inside a person. Just because we're saying something, it doesn't make us afraid. If it makes you afraid, that's an emotional response. It's an alert mechanism. It means you should be, something's wrong. Why am I afraid? This is why I'm afraid. Is it the truth you're afraid of?
Point.
Is it, what is it you're afraid of? And fear is not a bad motivator to get people started. I would bet a lot of Christians, we're learning, going through life experiences, not living the right way, and being woken up by fearful events, having terrible things, tragic things happen to people around them or themselves, scaring them into seeking higher powers and finding the Lord Jesus Christ. But I just wanted to say that because I found that verse and I thought it was fitting for what we're talking about.
And I think that applies both to the Chick-fil-A and it applies to what we talk about on the foreign policy thing. Look, at the same time, and I think the synchronicity here is we should pay attention to. Right now, you've got an agenda of fomenting chaos by this administration. Who do you think is behind this? The money and the assets behind the Chick-fil-A debacle? Or actually, it's not really Chick-fil-A. It's the whole gay agenda. Well, it's this administration. They're behind it. So at home, on the home front, there's this sideshow, this carnival look around Chick-fil-A, and people pitting against one another, when the deeper issue is the morality, the spiritual, the God issue, which is not being talked about by anybody. Nobody's talking about the God issue here, the God element of this, the spiritual element, the hellfire that's raining down there, that rained down on Sodom and Gomorrah. Hey, so fear, what you're saying, fear, you doggone right. So at the home front, we got that.
Brimstone and fire down on this nation and every other godless nation
and throwing the
that
abortion
turns away from the commandments of the Lord and turns to their own desireful, man-made doctrines. It says in Timothy that they will turn away from sound doctrine and have an itchy ear. And they will fill their itching ear with their own doctrine, their own man-made doctrine.
Right.
People are not of the Lord. They are not following the commandments, and our nation's laws no longer represent the laws of the Ten Commandments. Therefore, we are in violation of God's law as a nation, and until we do something as a whole to change that, we can expect to be judged for it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, we can see this, we can see the both the domestic issues, the domestic concerns, the morality, everything lining up right now with the foreign element, and the elections coming up. Look, as I said before, I don't believe that Obama is planning on going anywhere. How is he going to accomplish that, if not through vote? Then illegitimate vote, voter fraud, voter intimidation. We already have, I believe it was in Ohio, where the servicemen have been denied or are being denied the ability to vote for a number of days. Like the extended voting has been revoked for people in the military, under the guise of, well, they don't need it, but yet we've got the all-out war by this administration against any type of documentation. Voter ID laws. No, don't do that.
And we're going to go to a break. We're going to show a video of Pastor Begley and Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Some of the things we're going to be getting into tonight, jobless numbers, the 41 weeks in a row, I think, or months in a row, are the longest on record at being above 8% unemployment.
Yep.
And flashback, Obama said he would have it under 6% by now. Obama campaign deploys data mining operation tracking Democrats in neighborhoods.
Yes, if you're a Democrat in the neighborhood, watch
it works
out.
Both ways. Feds warn of swine flu outbreak at fairs. Transfers from pigs to people. Another thing we're going to get into is this House bill. House passes bill eliminating Senate approval of presidential appointments. This is very important. We are going to spend some time on this. Right now, we're going to go to our break, and with that,
this is
this video,
Pastor
Begley. It's called I forget the name. Rahm Emanuel, Chick-fil-A, and he hits. There is some humor to this video, but towards the end of the video, he hits on some points. He is so accurate. He is right on the money on this video. And as one of the top commenters on the video says, it's one of the best videos I have seen him do.
It says a lot, folks. If you can't see it, just listen, because it's going to be great. Go ahead, Troy. And by the way, I want to thank Troy from the Christians United Broadcasting Network. That's Christians United Broadcasting Network. God bless you, Troy. Thank you so much for setting this up for us. And the video deliveries is part of the Christians United Broadcasting Network, and we're very proud to be associated with them as well.
Yes, we are.
So go ahead. We're going to see in about 10 minutes. Take a listen to this.
Are you serious, Rahm Emanuel? Are you serious? What? Are you serious? What is it about chicken you don't like, Rahm Emanuel? What is it about chicken? Chicken? Are we talking chicken here? Let's listen. These are the words of the mayor of Chicago, former chief of staff of the president of the United States, Rahm Emanuel, and Chick-fil-A.
For the one Chicago reverend, here
he is.
They're not respectful of our residents, our neighbors, and our family members.
Well,
wait, whoa. Who isn't respectful? Can I hear this again? Here's Rahm Emanuel.
Chick-fil-A's values are not Chicago values.
What?
They're not respectful of our residents, our neighbors, and our family members.
What's wrong with Chick-fil-A? I mean, what's wrong with the way they cook their chicken, Rahm Emanuel? You can have it fried chicken. You can have baked chicken. You can have grilled chicken. You can have chicken a la king. You can have chicken gumbo. You can have chicken noodle soup. You can have chicken filet. You can have chicken today. You can have chicken your way. What is it about chicken that Rahm Emanuel doesn't like? What is it about Chick-fil-A's values, how they make their chicken? What has it got to do with Chick-fil-A? What's up with this? Is it? I got it. Rahm Emanuel, it's because you like Kentucky Fried Chicken better than you like Chick-fil-A. And that, sir, is discrimination. You like Popeye's chicken better than Chick-fil-A. And that, Mr. Rahm Emanuel, is discrimination. And just think about the chickens who've given their life to be on the bun of a Chick-fil-A sandwich. Just think about the shame that you've brought upon these chickens who've risked everything they had to provide for the citizens of Chicago a quality chicken sandwich. Think of the time and the effort. Think of all of Rahm Emanuel. Why are you slapping the face of every Chicagoan who loves Chick-fil-A? I mean, I don't know what he means. he doesn't like the values. I mean, I just want to be sure. He doesn't like the values of Chick-fil-A. It doesn't reflect the values of the people of Chicago. Why? Too much salt, too much pepper, too much garlic. He don't like garlic herb chicken. He doesn't like, what is it? Rotisserie chicken? What is that, Rahm Emanuel? The Bible says in Isaiah chapter 5, verse 20, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, and put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe unto them, the prophet Isaiah said, that call evil good and good evil. What Rahm Emanuel's problem is not the chicken. Rahm Emanuel's problem is he doesn't like an American to stand up for what he believes in. He doesn't like the CEO of Chick-fil-A because the CEO of Chick-fil-A said in an interview that he believes in traditional marriage. You know, one man, one woman, a family of children. Traditional marriage. Male, female, you know. Exactly the way God intended it. Exactly the way nature presented it. No, Rahm Emanuel is upset at this CEO of a chicken restaurant. What has it got to do with anything, Rahm? You're the mayor. This guy likes to say he likes traditional marriage. Just say, well, that's what he likes. He's got good chicken. Let's move on. No. See, the liberal, lefty, communist, socialist, atheist people hate God. They hate God because God stands for what's right, and they don't want to do what's right. They want to do what's wrong. So, Rahm Emanuel, I'm going to pray for you. You don't represent the people of Chicago. You might think you do. You don't. You're just the head of the machine. The same old gangster machine that's been in power for years. And your values about Chick-fil-A, trust me, 80% of the people of Chicago disagree with you. And it's a shame because you're going directly against your own citizens. And this man's right to say whatever he wants to say. And he has a right to say what he wants, Rahm. And he has a right to have a restaurant in your city. If you try to bar him from having Chick-fil-A restaurants in Chicago, you, sir, are committing discrimination. He's not discriminating against anybody. Gay people can come in and have chicken in his restaurant. He doesn't say no gays allowed. He doesn't say that at all. He just said, I like traditional marriage. People, if Rahm Emanuel gets his way to block a man from having a restaurant over his view on gay marriage, then this nation is going to hell in a handbasket. If this is allowed to stand, you might say, oh, now, Pastor, this won't stand. Really? That's what they said in 1963 when they took prayer out of school. That's what they said in 1973 when the Supreme Court justice voted 5-4 to legalize abortion. They said it won't stand, but it stood. It's still there. You give the devil an inch, he'll take a mile. Then woe unto them that will say evil, call evil good and good evil. And that's exactly what Rahm Emanuel is doing as the mayor of Chicago. Let me just put it this way. This isn't about anything else other than Rahm Emanuel and the chicken, okay? Rahm, let me ask you a question. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Rahm, tell me, which come first, Rahm Emanuel, the chicken or the egg? You say, that's a silly discussion. It's not as silly as him trying to stop Chick-fil-A from being in the city of Chicago. What is it? Is he a gangster? Is this Al Capone running the city? Who's running Chicago? Is Al Capone rose from the dead? Is John Dillinger coming back again? I'm Paul Begley, Pastor Paul Begley, and I stand for traditional marriage. God said it was in His intention for one man and one woman. That's it. That's what I stand for. It's the Bible, it's the truth, and that will stand, and I'll stand with it. If you don't know Christ as your Savior, give your life to Jesus Christ. This is a serious discussion. You say, Paul, don't get all upset about it. I'm not upset. I'm telling you, if America allows Rahm Emanuel to push this through, then America's just lost its freedom of speech. You don't let some little mayor in Chicago bully you around. As an American, as a pastor, stand up for what's right for once. Somebody stand up for what's right. And send Rahm Emanuel a chicken sandwich while you're at it.
Wow. You know, thank you, Pastor Paul Begley, for allowing the Hagmann Report to use that segment. I'll tell you, you know, you didn't have to really watch it, but if you heard it, he said one thing, you know, that really gets me, and that's the fact that what was once right or wrong is now right, and right's now wrong.
Yeah, woe to them who call good evil and
right.
Evil good.
And you know, there was something that happened in Russia here some time ago. Rick Wiles talked about this in his broadcast yesterday about this desecration of a Christian church in Russia by I believe it was you know, I'm not exactly certain. It was
a homosexual organization,
right? But I thought these people, this is a band member or band members, or I'm not sure. But anyway, you're right. It was all about the homosexual agenda. They went in and desecrated very badly desecrated a Christian church in Russia, and they got 7 years in prison. Yet, okay, now compare that to what's happening here in America. Here in America right now, Rahm Emanuel would send them a card, for crying out loud. That's what's happening. And okay, so you take this immorality, this lack of morality, this lack of spiritual, and you know, the other thing that bothers me too, and I think the pastor did a wonderful job pointing this out, or at least telegraphed it to me. I shouldn't say pointed this out but you know, everyone's going around, or not everyone, but a lot of people are going around like everything's just fine. That there's really, this is kind of, you know, boyish, girlish infighting, that, you know, kind of cutesy stuff. But no, it's not. It's something much deeper, much more sinister behind this than just you know, there's much more behind this Chick-fil-A incident than just right. Chick-fil-A.
No, it's the attack on individuals' beliefs. When you're, I mean, like what the Nazis did, labeling businesses and people that were Jewish or supported Jews in Germany back then. They would paint the Star of David on the properties to identify them. That's how it started.
The businesses, yeah. Yep. And you know, I'll just share this with the audience. I didn't even tell Joe this yet. We were. I shouldn't even. I don't even mean to chuckle about this, but I was looking for a sponsor, perhaps, to sponsor part of the program, and I had sent probably a dozen packets out, and I had somebody interested, in fact, in the on the periphery of the survival industry. Let's just put it that way. Asked me for some program information and where they could find the archive broadcast. So I gave them the link to the archive broadcast, and I got a call today that basically said, this is the second time we've gotten turned down for advertising. You're too spiritual and you're too controversial, basically, is what they said. So, go figure. Mainstream America, you know, they can't take the truth, I guess. They don't want the truth wrapped in spirituality. It's nothing like Chick-fil-A in Chicago, where you're banning a business, but in a sense, it's kind of like, you know, it's banning because of beliefs. So they
wouldn't let them build a restaurant because in the one district, the guy said because of the beliefs of the owner.
Right. So The battle lines are being drawn. The religious battle lines are being drawn. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, we're going to go to the phones here in a second, so if you guys want to call in, go ahead and do so at 661-244-9839. That's 661-244-9839.
On this casual Friday.
Some good news and some bad news here. The good part is being that Cass Sunstein steps down as Obama's authoritarian advisor. That's the headline of InfoWars. Obama's authoritarian advisor, Sunstein, steps down. He was the Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs, the Office of Management and Budget, and he will leave later this month and return to Harvard Law School. He gained notoriety for a number of fronts. He called for dispatching government agents to sabotage individual groups opposed to the government, most notably those at odds with the office or the official 9/11 narrative, and suggested the government hold people responsible for information they post on the internet. He also, in a quote given, I don't have a date for this quote, but it was about changing free speech to more of a restrictive type. And he went on to say in this quote, "There is no liberty without dependency. In what sense is money in our pockets and bank accounts fully ours? Did we earn it by our own autonomous efforts?" And he goes on to say basically what's yours is not yours, what's yours is his, and he will regulate who and what gets that. And obviously we see that happening now, while our money, as we get taxed with our money coming in, we get taxed with our money going out, and that money that is taken from us is in turn used to murder innocent civilians and other people in foreign countries and in our own country.
But don't be fooled by his departure.
No, they'll put somebody much more sinister, much more sick and evil in there. You can bet on that.
But see, yeah, that too. Plus, they're going to keep, again, the Chicago mentality. Sunstein is not going to be acting in an official capacity. He's going to Harvard Law School. But trust me on this, he will be definitely in touch with the administration. So his influence will still be within the Obama-Jarrett arena in the White House. And that's something we have to really watch for.
Yeah, we have military exercises happening in the United States. Massachusetts citizens frightened by midnight military exercises. The Pentagon is conducting surprise military drills with increasing frequency around the country, alarming citizens and acclimating them to the presence of obtrusive combat technology and simulated warfare.
Stop. There's no reason. And I talked to two military people, and I'm sorry I missed this one gentleman's call today. I was on the call that I was referencing. But anyway, look, there's no reason for any type of urban combat warfare in this country. The only reason for the urban combat in this country right now exercises is to condition the public to see the assets here operating on the streets. There is no reason whatsoever
to see the response of the people
and to condition them for military on the streets. That's the only reason for urban training in this country.
It says, as usual, as usual, most citizens were unaware of the drills until helicopters swooped over their neighborhoods. Many residents were surprised and scared Wednesday evening when military helicopters descended on a vacant wood school into late hours of the night in a scene that might have appeared to simulate the United States Special Forces attack on Osama bin Laden's compound last year, the Sun Chronicle reported on Friday. Look for increasing military movements and surprise drills being reported all across the country as the government silently positions for martial law as the financial collapse arrives in America. This article from Susan Postle of InfoWars from today says the U.S. government has been scheming on how to provide for a continuity of government for many decades now, according to Peter Santilli, an informant who was an ex-Marine and worked on portions of the contingency plans known as Rex 84. Civil unrest will come after a financial collapse. How fitting is the timing of this economic news, and we're not being told the truth about what's going on in Spain. There are rioting in Spain. There are rioting in Greece. There is unrest all throughout Europe, especially the countries that are broke. Greece has had 3 bailouts, and they're scheduled to be broke by August 20th. I was about to say August-tober. August 20th.
August-tober.
Yeah, that was weird. August 20th, they're scheduled to be bankrupt by. We see France is already having to implement austerity measures, and we are going to continue to see that snowball out of control. How many bailouts can you give? How many times can you What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
Yep.
What do? They keep giving bailouts to private corporations. This is fascism at its highest degree. Corporations in bed with the government, giving each other money and favors. In exchange, the people at the bottom, the customers, the workers, they're the ones getting hurt, the average citizens. Meanwhile, these people at the top who are swindling all the rest of the money out of the middle class across the world are ready at the same time to take the money with one hand and implement the hammer of martial law with the other hand.
That's right. And while we have this going on, while we have these military maneuvers, while we have this threat of financial collapse, and it's not a threat, it's imminent, the House passes a bill that eliminates Senate approval for presidential appointments. Isn't this convenient? Again, by Obama, or by this Congress during the term of Obama. 261 to 169, the House of Representatives passed this bill rewriting Article 2 of the Constitution, basically, which divests the Senate, and divesting the Senate of the power to accept or reject any appointment of many presidential nominees. Now, last year the Senate passed the measure by a vote of 79 to 20, so now it goes back to the desk of Obama for his signature, and you better believe that he's going to sign it. Folks, I know we've had you on hold for some time. Let's get to the phones.
We're going to go to Jeff in Chelsea, Massachusetts first. Jeff, you're on the line with the Hagmann and Hagmann Report.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, the citizen reporter from Boston, which is a designation I gave to myself. I got some good information for you guys.
Well, we're going to give that to you, Jeff. Okay, we're going to let you keep that designation. How's that?
Oh, thank you.
Citizen reporter from Boston. Go ahead.
Yes. Number one, Michael Graham, Boston Herald, Friday, July 27th, 2012. Radical Iman, okay, but not Chick-fil-A. This article should be in the Smithsonian Institute. Get a hard copy of this, because you will see the thuggery of Mayor Thomas Menino. This guy is a thug. I mean, people say hypocrite. No, I say thug.
Yep.
Because in the article right here, the beginning stanza, given his stance on Chick-fil-A, would Mayor Menino grant permits to a group that has counted among its leaders a man who has repeatedly called homosexuality a crime that must be punished by death? Actually, he has done that and more. Menino effectively gave away city land valued at $1.8 million to the organization, and he gave a speech to his ribbon-cutting ceremony. It's the Islamic Society of Boston Mosque, and when it comes to anti-gay sentiment, one of its early supporters makes Chick-fil-A look like the Provincetown men's chorus. Now, you guys will have to read the rest of the article on your own to get the gist of it. And I have an actual letter from Mayor Menino on the Huffington Post, and I'm sure you guys read that letter, which is Mayor Menino writing to Mr. Cathy, his own letter. You called supporters of gay marriage prideful. Here in Boston, to borrow your own words, we are guilty as charged. We are indeed full of pride for our support of same-sex marriage and our work to expand freedom to all people. We are proud that our state and our city have led the way for the country on equal marriage rights. I was angry to learn on the heels of your prejudiced statements about your search for a site located in Boston. There is no place for discrimination on Boston's Freedom Trail and no place for your company alongside it. When Massachusetts became the first state in the country to recognize equal marriage rights, I personally stood on City Hall Plaza to greet same-sex couples coming here to be married. Now, I'll wrap up the letter with this. It would be an insult to them and to our city's long history of expanding freedom to have Chick-fil-A across the street from that spot. Well, I will say this about Mayor Menino. He all he cares about is votes. And I will say this, and I hope Mayor Menino is listening, but I doubt it. If there are subgroups of jihadists that come from that mosque and hit the Hancock Tower, the Prudential Tower, the Level 4 Biohazard Lab on Albany Street, hit the subway, and just for giggles, have a jihadist hit Newbury Street to strip it clean, because Newbury Street's the Rodeo Drive of Boston, and then have people riot in Boston to do this deed because Muslims use proxies. I'm telling you something. This man, along with Deval Patrick, will have blood on their hands. That is a fact. This mosque is dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
Antichrist people only care about votes. They are thugs, and people love to have it so because the unions want the votes, the minorities want the bacon, and the liberal sheeple are just liberal sheeple, and the professors want their tenure. My people love to have it so. Jeremiah chapter 5, I'll hear your responses off air. God bless and keep up the good work.
Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, man. Well, the response is, look, again,
they say this is spreading freedom, the freedom for gays. Look, this is my problem. Nobody's infringing on the freedoms of gays to be together, okay? They're infringing on the churches by trying to push their beliefs that their definition of marriage is better than the biblical definition and the traditional historical definition, and saying, well, you know, that's not equal because it doesn't include us. That's like, you know, a man making a baby with a goat, okay, and then saying, well, my baby is not recognized as a human. Well, it's not a human. Well, bad analogy.
Yes, I was going to say that's kind of a stretch out there. But
we have atheist homosexuals who want to take a covenant of marriage under the Lord. They want to go and go under God and take a pact with the Lord and their partner, and they don't believe in God. So why would they want?
Wait, I've seen Christians.
No, I know, but there's a lot of homosexual atheists that will demand to be married at a church. And why? Why do these people want to get married under God if they are not believing in Him?
It's not even that, Joe. To me, it's not even that. Here's the core issue. The core issue is being able to say, you're not going to do business here in Chicago because of your belief.
Of course. They're attacking freedom of speech. They're attacking Christians' belief system, saying, if you don't conform to our belief systems, you're not going to be allowed to do business in this country.
That's number one.
If you don't believe in, you know, communist forced labor or whatever, you're not going to be able to do business. If you don't believe in gay marriage, you're not going to be able to be here, or you're going to pay more taxes. And
if your ideology is wrong.
Exactly.
Okay. If you don't conform to our ideology, then you're not going to be able to do business here.
And if you look in the Department of Homeland Security domestic terrorist report from 2009, it even lists left-wing terrorists in there as pushing their ideology of, you know, it lists several things as being, you know, the law of the land, avoiding what's in the Constitution. It even lists them in there as domestic terrorists in the Homeland Security report. And it's exactly what they're doing. And it's just crazy. We're going to go
go ahead.
back to the phones. Area code 570, you're on air with the Hagmann and Hagmann report.
Hey, Doug and Joe, how are you today?
Very good. And what's up?
I am calling. This is Jason. I'm going to be a regular. I'm a new listener, and I live in Scranton. And it's kind of sad living here because everybody's basically in a coma and has no idea what's going on. But we can all relate to that, I think. Anyway, when I heard you, Doug, when you said, you know, that one of the sponsors said that your show is quote unquote too spiritual
and controversial.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, and it is because in an age of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act, as we know.
That's right.
So I just wanted it. When I heard you say that, I had to call in, and I think all of us need to pray that you do find those people that are willing to stand up for what is right, the gospel, and the truth, and fund you. And I pray in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth that somebody out there, if you have means, you got to help these guys out because there aren't many shows out there. And as much as I love Alex Jones, he will not go that extra. He's starting to get there now. Recently, he's starting to, you know, get a little bit more in line with the gospel and starting to preach more. But he doesn't. There aren't shows that do that. And Joe and Doug, you guys, your show it's anointed. And I just pray to the Lord that somebody out there hears this and, you know, supports you guys.
Well, Jason, thank you very much. And we're not new to this. I mean, I think this is the second time that we've received a response like this, but and thank you, for the prayer, because I'll tell you something. We're fighting a spiritual battle here. Don't you think so?
Right.
I mean,
everything
we're seeing is spiritual or is good versus evil.
The way I see it is this: all of these issues that we talk about, and all of the issues that Alex talks about on a daily basis, they are worldly issues. And honestly, when it comes down to it, anything having to do with this world, and that includes our form of government, as good as a constitutional republic was, righteousness was not really enforced. I mean, you couldn't force righteousness. There were still bad people. When the Lord comes and sets up his kingdom, it is going to be enforced righteousness. And until that time comes, brothers and sisters that are listening, until that time comes, we are not going to be satisfied. The only leadership that we will be satisfied by is his perfect leadership, the Lord Jesus himself. And that we should be thankful for, guys.
Wow,
absolutely.
I don't think we could have said that any better.
No, not at all.
Thank you so much.
God bless you guys.
God bless you, man. Wow, that's terrific. Wow, and thanks for listening, and thanks for being a listener. And God bless you.
Listen. My mom recently passed away, and
sorry.
In January, and I loved her with all my heart, and we prayed constantly, and every Saturday we'd get the Bible out, we'd pop in a DVD, we'd do a Bible study, and we prayed hard, and we felt that she was going to get healed. But you know what? These Luciferian pieces of trash that have taken over our medical system injected her and killed her in 3 days, guys. Okay. I'm telling you, she was writhing in pain in CMC Hospital with a broken neck from radiation poisoning. And I didn't I thought a lot of the stuff with the medical system was maybe conspiracy theories.
Right.
But I saw it in action, my friends. And they're killers. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to tell you, caller, we went through a close family member's fight, with various diseases, terminal diseases, and watched as the drugs that they were giving her took the life out of her, really. And, we at one time intervened and asked to stop the drugs, and, it probably bought her another 8 to 9 months' time of life after that.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, my mom was not one to be into alternative treatments, and I tried my best to get her to go towards them, but she just wasn't open to it. She just trusted the doctors too much. Well, she didn't trust the doctors, but she didn't know what else to do. You know what I mean? And we know that we can get healing through the Lord, but when it doesn't come, we start looking for answers. And unfortunately, the only answers that are out there that some people trust are the Babylonian pharmaca choice, and it kills us, guys.
Yeah.
Wow, Babylonian, thank you for saying that. I mean, wow, that's, exactly.
That's what it is, my friend.
Can you tell me, she was getting radiation, and you said that essentially just disintegrated her bones, or?
Thank you for asking. I appreciate you caring. This is what happened. They told her that she needed to find out what was in her bones because they thought that she had bone cancer. So what they did was they injected her with what they call a nuclear bone scan. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Heard of it? Had it. I had it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well then you know what? Maybe I can't say that it hurt her because
no. Wait a second. No. Believe me. See, without getting into too much detail, how old? May I ask how old she was?
Absolutely, she was 65.
Okay. I have heard this from a doctor, as a matter of fact, that the older you get, if you have this done, and there's other conditions going on, this could actually kill you. Okay.
Well, you know what, Doug? I didn't want to believe that because we kind of flounder out here in the world, and any kind of hope that we can get aside from God, and God is always there. I don't want to diminish God, but we look for answers in the physical right now. And I didn't want to believe that was the case, but my spirit was telling me that. And Doug, I'm telling you, it was 3 days after she got this thing that her neck broke. She was putting on her sweater to go to the doctor that day, and her neck broke. And it was 3 days. She was in, as Jonah was in the whale 3 days, I'm telling you, my mother was as Christ-like as anybody could be. I'm going to tell you that right now. As Jonah was 3 days in the whale, and the Lord was 3 days in the center of the earth, my mother was 3 days in hell. And they did nothing for her except to shoot her up with morphine, and that was it. She was gone.
Wow. You know, so it if I understand this correctly, and I think I do because I've heard of this as a side effect, basically what this did, I mean, it affected the bones. The bones obviously affected the neck bone, and with her, it affected the neck bones, which may or may not have been the weakest area of the spine in her case.
It could have been. Well, I'll tell you this too, Doug. Just one last thing. I'm taking up so much of your time, and God bless you for talking to me.
We need to hear this.
You're giving me comfort too. At the same time, 2 days. Okay, there were 2 hospitalizations right after this happened to her that she had this done on her. The first hospitalization, she was literally bleeding from her mouth and nose like a river. And on Alex Jones, I heard that radiation poisoning, that's a symptom.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know? Yep. So that clicked in my head, and I was like, my God, Jay, you know, that's it. And she said, as soon as she got it, she said, I do not feel right. I just don't. She was shaking like a leaf, and she said, Jason, that there's something wrong here. And I didn't know what to do at that point, neither did she. So, but it literally wasn't 3 days after that she died, Doug.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. My prayers are with you and with her, and I'm sure she, given your spiritual relationship that you had with her, the closeness and such, I'm sure that she is really in a better place, and we're all going to get there at some point. But
you know what runs through my head though, Doug, and it's crazy. To the world it'll sound crazy, but to brothers like you and Joe, I think maybe you'll get it. I regret not getting on my knees at that second because I was at her right hand. I was sleeping in the hospital with her the night she died.
Oh, God bless you for
And I can't tell it. The experience I had was insane because I woke up and it was out of a dead sleep at 3 a.m, and it was like somebody took the breath out of my mouth. I think she probably gave me a kiss before she went, but that's another story. I will always regret not getting on my knees at that second and praying to the Lord, please raise her, and maybe a miracle could have happened with witnesses there, where there were like 10 people in the room. And as we know, the number of witnesses, 10. And it sounds crazy, but that's us, right?
Well, you know what? I understand what you're saying, but I think perhaps, Jay, that I think that you did everything you could. I think that you were there with her, which is the most. That's a blessing because I lost my mom without. I mean, she passed in her sleep, and I was not there. This is when I was, this is when I was 18, 19, I think I was.
Yeah.
And I regret the last words I said to her, and at least you had that opportunity to be with her, and certainly her departure.
Yeah, and her mind was going. She was saying all kinds of weird. I think that whatever they did to her just completely destroyed her, like her brain, her bones, everything. So honestly, you're right. In the end, I know where she is. We know where she is, and I'm going to let you go because I've taken so much time.
Thanks.
God bless you guys.
God bless you as well, and
thank you so much for your call. Thank you so much for your support, your prayers, and we were praying for you.
Yeah.
We hope that you continue to listen and you continue to grow stronger in your faith with the Lord. and that your journey of life may be easier as you continue to grow.
I got a feeling, however, it's not going to get any easier for all of us. I really don't, because you just
look at this.
Something about Disneyland.
I posted this in the chat room, guys. Anaheim police dressed in military gear stopped protesters near Disneyland. You go to this article. I'll post it in the chat room
these
again.
Are police,
this
but they're dressed in military.
Yeah, these are military dress, camouflage, full camo, body armor, helmets, guns. They are in full gear in Anaheim, California, almost like they're ready to have a military assault on the city. They have tanks, they have cameramen, people in full military gear that say the words police on the military camouflage. These people are not police. This is the new invading force you can expect coming to a city near you as the economy gets ready and will collapse.
This is a private security force of the bankers in this country, folks. I know we got a bank of callers. We're going to just hold on there. We're at the top of the hour break, unfortunately. My time goes fast, but I'm just kind of shaken a little bit too by that last caller. You know, it's just
tough.
I know what it is. I know what it is, and that's.
And when we come back, CDC watching variant H3N2 as cases climb, and they're preparing a new vaccine for the swine flu. That and much, much more when we come back.
Right?
This is the Hagmann and Hagmann Report you're listening to. We'll be back for hour number 2 right after these short messages. Stay with us.
If you're stumped, you don't know what kind of gift to give to a friend or a loved one, I'm telling you, you must go to 4physics.com. That's the numeral 4, PHYSICS.com. This is your one-stop shopping palace. That's the only way I can put it. I could spend easily an hour on this website. Innovative, fun, educational. There are games, books, weather instruments, unique time-telling devices, jewelry, optical devices, laboratory equipment. Let me give you an example. We all know we can tell time with a sundial. You've seen those advertised. Did you know that you could tell time by the stars? At 4physics.com, you can buy a horologium nocturnum. This was a navigational device used in the 15th century by navigators at night to tell time by the stars. It's beautifully crafted in the shape of a pendant made of bronze and pewter or gold and silver. Absolutely a stunning gift. I would be proud to give it to anyone. You must go to 4physics.com. Even if you're not stumped, that's 4physics. That's the numeral 4, PHYSICS.com. It's your one-stop shopping palace. Any problems that you have, I don't know what to get Grandpa, I don't know what to get my loved one, that's unique, you will find it at 4physics.com. Please take my word for it. Go to the website, but give yourself a lot of time because you're not going to want to leave. 4physics.com.
Survival of the fittest. In any and all situations, survival is your number one priority. That requires being tough and thinking smart. And the folks at Freeze Dry Guy are going to help you do just that. They have the long-range patrol ration entrees, what they call the Brick Pack. When you're in survival mode, it is absolutely the best item for your survival pack or bug-out bag. You can go farther, faster, and carry more food with the LRP cold weather ration entrees. Not only do these long-lasting, durable entrees help sustain you or your family through the harshest environment or situation, they are by far the most delicious of their kind. No contest. With a variety of tasty entrees, you can't beat the LRP Brick Packs. Let Freeze Dry Guy help you in your survival situations. Go to freezedryguy.com. That's freezedryguy.com or call 866-404-3663. That's 866-404-FOOD.
Hi, folks. Doug Hagmann here. You might know me as the co-host from the Hagmann and Hagmann Report, or as a frequent guest on Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. If you're like me, you're tired and confused over today's headlines. You just don't know where to turn for accurate, concise information about really what's going on, what's truly going on in today's society. If you don't know where to turn for accurate, well-researched, and properly vetted news, I've got a suggestion. In fact, it's a requirement. Bookmark Canada Free Press. That's CanadaFreePress.com on the internet. It's just not for Canada. It's for news across the world. Judy McLeod, founding editor, has put together a vast array of talented writers like Kelly O'Connell, Daniel Greenfield, Dr. Eileen Johnson-Powell, a lot of guest columnists, very talented writers. Folks, that's Canada Free Press at CanadaFreePress.com. Now mobile friendly. Follow on Facebook, because without America, there is no free world.
Doug Hagmann. One guy that doesn't need a bullhorn to get your attention.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to today, this Friday, August 3rd edition, 2012, of the Hagmann and Hagmann Report, the fastest growing internet show on the internet. The fastest growing radio show on the internet.
And thanks to
the
you.
Premier
thanks to
father and son radio show. We are investigators by trade and radio show host by hobby.
I'm not sure.
And now that's changing.
I'm not sure how long that's going to be able to last because of... Because, and I got to tell you this, you know, look, there are people that are starting to take notice of our show. We cannot, we were doing an investigation here the other day, and I contacted, I went to interview someone, and this is on the other side of the country in California, Los Angeles, as a matter of fact. And I picked up the phone. I said, "My name's Doug Hagmann. I'm a multi-state licensed investigator. I need to talk to someone about a civil litigation lawsuit that's taking place." And this woman says, "Wait a minute, Doug Hagmann?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, Homeland Northeast, Hagmann Report, something, the Hagmann Report. That's it. You're on the radio. You're on Coast to Coast." I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Wow." And, anyway, the cloak of anonymity for us is pretty much gone.
Yeah, as the line is being blurred between how police and military look in Anaheim, the line is being blurred between what we do now as our number one job, which used to be private investigators, now turned to radio show hosts. And I guess it is by calling.
It was kind of weird. The whole thing was pretty bizarre. And as a matter of fact, the individual on the other end of the phone was a personal manager for Hollywood celebrity, a very well-known Hollywood celebrity, and it had to do with a very high dollar profile or high dollar trademark issue, copyright infringement trademark issue. But nonetheless, regardless if it's that or if it's the smallest, investigating an accident, the fact of the matter is, the fact is that people are starting to associate us with the show now by name and by even by voice, and it's the
listeners that's spreading the word. It's the people talking about the show, the people live streaming, reposting our stories or our rebroadcasts on Facebook, telling other people about the show. The word of mouth.
Word of mouth. Yeah, but it gets to the point now where we've got to have to make a very, very, very important decision whether to wrap up things here, because as well, our Fortune 100 clients, there's enough said there, right?
Yeah, let's go to the phones. We're going to go to a local friend here. John, you're on with the Hagmann Report.
Hey, guys, how you doing tonight?
Good, John. Good to talk with you, my friend.
First thing I want to say is...
Wait. No, you can't say anything until I ask you. What's the temperature down there?
Somewhere between hot and boiling.
You sound a little agitated.
Last I looked at my outside thermometer, it was like 86 degrees, and that was
in the shade
just before your program started.
Okay, yeah, I know how much you like this warm weather. So.
Oh yeah, it's just great, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
First thing I want to say is I want to send out my thoughts and prayers to that gentleman that called at the top of the hour. Having just gone through pretty much the same thing in the last couple of months, I know where he's coming from, and I feel your pain, brother. I do.
We're all spiritual brothers and sisters, and we're one big family here.
Now, that said, lighten the mood a little bit. Is there a Chick-fil-A around here anywhere?
There's one about 35 miles north of you.
Peach Street. Right just north of I-90. It's like 7900 Peach Street.
Has it been visited by the sodomites?
I'm not sure. When I was there, I went through the drive-through about 6:30, 7 o'clock today. And
it was. There was an article. There was, I think, a dozen.
Oh, is this a group of people that travel? Okay.
No. This is the people who staged that kiss in.
Oh, I'm unfamiliar. Okay, I was unfamiliar with the term, the sodomites. I know what. Yeah.
Okay, you got it.
As in Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yes. Yeah, I got it. I got it.
Okay. Yeah.
I just wonder how that particular ilk would react to I don't know, 3 or 4 militiamen in full uniform standing honor guard in front of Chick-fil-A.
You know what? It might come down to that. Okay. Maybe not over this, but it might come down to that, and not just with Chick-fil-A. Because this is bigger than Chick-fil-A. This is bigger than this gay agenda. This is an assault on business. So you're right.
Oh, it is. It is much bigger. The Chick-fil-A thing is a mere microcosm of what's actually going on.
That's what's visible. That's a visible war we can see. What's underneath it is the other. But it might come down to the fact, John, where you're going to have if you're allowed to do business, you might have to have a honor guard of sorts of militia protecting your business.
Yeah, really, how much long? If we have an economic collapse, what's the worth of the business? So the business worth will be what is in the store as far as assets. If it's a service-based business, what do you have to protect except your?
Now you're talking the practicality. I'm talking about the ideology.
Well, yeah, but having what they do with the funerals of the was it Terry Jones or the people who went around to the funerals protesting the military?
That was Westboro. That was the Westboro nuts.
Yeah, the
Westboro Baptist Church nuts. And there's a motorcycle group called the Patriot Guard that, whenever possible, will go and get in between the protesters and the funeral with their motorcycles at full throttle and basically drown out the protesters.
Well, yeah, and now we're getting kind of way off the mark. But yeah, John, I got to tell you, man, it's again,
it shouldn't come to that. It shouldn't have to come to that.
When the Russians are punishing behavior like this and we're embracing it, what does that tell you?
It tells us that the Russians are on the right side of history for once.
It's crazy. It really is. But what else is on your mind, my brother?
Well, listening to your programs earlier in the week, sorry I hadn't gotten a chance to call in or even talk to you guys at all, but I've been pulling 10 and 12-hour days, starting at 4 a.m., trying to get some stuff done. But
sounds like us.
But at least I do get some sleep.
Well, I don't know, buddy. You're one of the hardest working people I know, but not a problem. Everything all right with our previous programs earlier this week?
Well, yeah, they were great, and I got to say they really. I was pretty livid hearing what's happening to you guys. All I'm going to say, I'm not going to get anybody in any trouble here. Braveheart has your back.
Appreciate
I'm not talking about the radio station.
Wow. Well, thank you. And John, let's switch and talk about the radio show. That's Braveheart Radio, or give your website and the show information out for people.
The website is braveheartradio.net. That is braveheartradio.net. Saturdays, 6 p.m. Eastern till 9 p.m. Heard on Liberty Tree Radio when they can pick us up over the internet. Otherwise, it's local, and the archives will. The archives are usually up within a day or two on our site.
Okay.
The link to Liberty Tree is on our site. About halfway down the page says "Listen Live." Now, with that, we may or may not be on the air this week because Daryl, the founder of Braveheart, called me a little while ago tonight and said that the station computer had crashed.
Oh my!
And I had just built that computer, albeit from parts laying around. But I just built that computer probably 6-8 months ago, and it's down. Daryl is, with all due respect, I love the guy to death, but he is the most computer illiterate person I've ever met in my life.
Sounds like me a little bit.
No, me, I'm worse than that. But okay.
Well, he doesn't really understand what is happening. He can get it to start up, and an hour or so later it shuts off. So I think I know what's wrong with it, but I've got to get down there early tomorrow before the program and see what I can do with it.
Well, good luck with that, my friend. And look, we're gonna cut you loose, move on here. But any last parting thoughts? And I want to thank you for noticing what's going on. I mean, we're being slandered. We're being taken out of context. In fact, we're international incident. Yeah. You know, we've had people call us and just and send us emails saying that we're actually interfering with or actually messing around with messing around with congressional information, which I won't even get into that. But they're trying to make something more out of what we said than what we did. So
well, turn it around and look at the bright side of things. The saying that originated in World War II, I believe, you don't get flack until you're over the target.
Yeah, I got an email just like that the other day. Yeah, you're right. You're right, and I think we're getting close. And I'll tell you, I appreciate your support and the support of Braveheart. And we love you. We love your program, and we're glad you're part of our family.
Glad to be a part. God brought us together. He's got some things in mind that we probably don't know yet, may never know. But as long as we follow His lead, we'll be all right.
That's right. Well, God bless you, sir. John, you take care. And again, folks, on Saturday night, your website one more time, Braveheart.
BraveheartRadio.net.
Gotcha, my friend. And that's
all right, guys.
Saturday.
God bless.
God bless.
For God's sake, stay safe and call me if the stay safe part comes into question.
We will.
We will, because we might need some backup. Take care, my friend.
Bye.
That was John. What a great call.
We're going to move on to another call real quick here. We're going to Lucy in Tennessee. Lucy, you're on.
I'm not. Can you hear me?
Yes. You just listening?
Okay. No, I wanted to say something real quick.
Okay, sure.
I have lost a daughter to death and a son-in-law that was married to another daughter. And I know the comfort of the Lord Jesus. And I also wanted to read from one verse from Psalms 139 for Jay and for John. It's verse 16. It says, Lord, your eyes saw my substance being yet unformed, and in your book they all were written, the days fashioned for me, when as yet there were none of them. What that's saying is, even if we think that we were set up, or radiation killed us, or killed somebody's family or something, that God, before we were even thought about, already had the number of our days written out. My daughter was 27 when she died, and she had her husband and 2 little babies, and she just laid down and died. But my hope is in Christ, and when you realize that even if somebody messed up down here, God doesn't mess up. He never messes up. His ways are always right. So I just want to encourage particularly John and Jay tonight, hold on to Jesus. That's your hope. That's your hope.
Oh, Lucy.
And our time down here is just very brief.
Yes, it is.
Well, God bless you, Lucy. How long is, excuse me, when did your daughter pass?
My daughter died 11 years ago. My son-in-law died 4 years ago.
Oh, man. You know, wow.
Yeah. But now I have a question. I sent y'all an email about that Kelly man who's a politician in Tennessee. Did you call him? Did you get a response? Because
yes.
Okay.
Yes on the call, no on the response. It would happen to be his primary, and he was running, as you know.
Yes, because our elections were yesterday. But if his article was published on the Huffington Post, that's where I found the article. I thought that says enough. That says enough to me right there.
Well, it was published in it was published in Vancouver. Well, from Vancouver to Nova Scotia in Canada, and from really California and Oregon to Florida here in the United States on various outlets.
It made its rounds all over the liberal and different factioned websites. The divided, bias-driven sites.
Yes, but
yes, he and our governor here is a Republican in name, but he has agreed to Agenda 21, and I wanted to say Henry Lamb, who died a few months ago, has the best website on Agenda 21, if people want to go there.
Lucy, thank you so much for mentioning that, because I had the opportunity to talk with Henry at different times, and he is Henry Lamb, rest in peace. He was a lot of Canada Free Press. He wrote a lot for Canada Free Press, and his website is Agenda 21, exposes Agenda 21, and you're right. Where you're at, they've embraced that doctrine, and we've got to stop it. We've got to stop it. And
we thought we had. I mean, all of our senators here and congressmen statewide voted against it, and the governor vetoed it. Sounds like Obama, doesn't it?
It does. It does. And wow. Oh, well, Lucy, it's something. Yes, and thank you for sending that email. I just didn't have a chance to respond back.
Oh no, so. You don't ever have to respond. I just wanted to check and see if he had responded, because I had never heard of him. Which doesn't mean anything. But.
He never. I left actually 2 telephone messages, one in the morning and one in the afternoon, for his call. They were all out apparently, on that day. But I received nothing. So that in and of itself tells you a lot too.
Yes, it does. So, okay. Well, thank y'all again.
Well, thanks. You take care.
Bless. Okay.
Thank you. Wow.
Thanks, Lucy, for the call.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's always sad to hear when people lose people close to them, because we know how that feels, and the pain of that is tough, and it's something that never goes away. We're going to kind of switch gears here. We got about 35 minutes left in the show.
Yes, let's get moving on this.
John, too bad you're not still on the phone. There's a place where our military likes militias, and that is if you join one of the Muslim Brotherhood established militias inside Syria. You will be welcomed by our government. The Muslim Brotherhood has established its own militia inside Syria as the country rebels fracture between radical Islamists and their rivals, commanders and gun runners have told the Daily Telegraph. Also, we have a report that CIA Mossad is on the front line in Syria. And now we have a video from Reality Report with Ben Swan. Troy, that's the video I sent you.
Yeah, you got to either watch or
is Al-Qaeda our enemy or not?
Yeah, very good video, very good audio. Here we go. Go ahead, Troy, at your leisure.
Well, it is clear to most Americans that the U.S. is getting closer each day to getting militarily involved in Syria. But what you may not know is that a new report says we already are. So who exactly is the U.S. supporting? Ben has the reality check you won't see anywhere else.
The headline from Reuters yesterday, President Barack Obama has signed a secret order authorizing U.S. support for rebels seeking to depose Syrian President Bashar al-Assad and his government. A U.S. government source acknowledged that under provisions of the presidential finding, the United States is collaborating with a secret command center operated by Turkey and its allies. Last week, Reuters reported that along with Saudi Arabia and Qatar, Turkey had established a secret base near the Syrian border to help direct vital military and communication support to Assad's opponents. Separately from the president's secret order, the Obama administration has stated publicly that it is providing some backing for Assad's opponents. The State Department said on Wednesday the U.S. government had set aside a total of $25 million for non-lethal assistance to Syrian opposition. A U.S. official said that was mostly for communications equipment, including encrypted radios. Now, Republicans like Senators John McCain and Lindsey Graham, they insist the president is taking too long to help the rebels overthrow Assad. But the big question here that no one is asking, who are these rebels that the U.S. is supporting? Well, buried at the bottom of that Reuters article, quote, recent news reports from the region have suggested that the influence and numbers of Islamist militants, some of them connected to Al-Qaeda or its affiliates, have been growing among Assad's opponents. U.S. and European officials say that so far, intelligence agencies do not believe the militants' role in the anti-Assad opposition is dominant. Really? They don't believe that the militant role is dominant? It's kind of interesting because we've been here before. As recently as last year. In 2011, the U.S. provided large amounts of money and military support to help overthrow Muammar Gaddafi. They were providing that support to opposition forces in Libya. At the time, an Italian newspaper interviewed Abdel Hakim al-Hasidi, the Libyan rebel leader. And he told that Italian newspaper that jihadists who fought against Allied troops in Iraq, against U.S. troops, were on the front lines of the battle against Gaddafi's regime. Mr. al-Hasidi admitted he had earlier fought against the foreign invasion in Afghanistan before being captured in 2002 in Pakistan. He was later handed over to the U.S. and then held in Libya before being released in 2008. Mr. al-Hasidi insisted his fighters, quote, are patriots and good Muslims, not terrorists, but added that the, quote, members of Al-Qaeda are also good Muslims and are fighting against the invader, end quote. So what you need to know, late last year when Senator John McCain co-wrote the National Defense Authorization Act and President Obama signed it into law, they crafted a law that gave the president the authority to use all necessary and appropriate force during the current armed conflict with Al-Qaeda and the Taliban and associated forces, including the power to indefinitely detain anyone caught supporting Al-Qaeda, which in this case is the president and members of Congress. To be clear, we're spending over $1 trillion and, more importantly, spilling the blood of thousands of American lives in Iraq and Afghanistan. Then spending more American money and military power to, in some cases, help the same fighters overthrow another government. Is Al-Qaeda the enemy or aren't they? And that is Reality Check.
If you would like to make your voice heard on this story, you can head over to Ben's Facebook page. You can find it by searching Ben Swan at WXIX.
And there was Ben Swan from the Reality Report. This is one guy I have come to get he's got my attention with his reports for about a year now. I've seen his reality reports. It's on TV Fox TV station somewhere in the country. But find his YouTube channel,
Actually,
Ben Swan, The Reality Report, bookmark.
He
They
did
do
a great,
some groundbreaking reports.
He did a great report on the Colorado shooting incident.
Yeah,
I watched
that's
that.
what I sent you.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's right. And what we have here, look, folks understand this. The Muslims right now are the mindless, zombified group of individuals that are nothing more than the cannon fodder for the central bankers to go out and to they think they're doing this in the name of their religion, but it's not that. It's not that. That's what they're being told. Here, go be a good Muslim. And Islam being the mindless cult-like cult that it is, basically.
Right.
As I.Q. Rizzoli has often said on this program, as he described Islam, they are ready to be used as cannon fodder, and it's not right. That's just it. So we're fighting Al Qaeda, but funding Al Qaeda at the same time.
His last statement saying over $1 trillion was spent fighting these same people in Afghanistan and Iraq for 9-10 years. We are now paying money and giving weapons and support to help overthrow another nation, another sovereign nation. And like Russia is standing with Syria, as we said there, Russia is standing with, not letting the moral decay of homosexuality infest into their society, how they're cracking down on that. They're also sending warships to Syria to defend what it seems to be is they are the defenders of keeping the nation state sovereign. The way it appears that they're on the side of fighting good, like you said about with the problem with society and the way that the homosexual agenda is infiltrating society, not just trying to be a part of it, but overturn and infiltrate it.
What I heard this week, and I did not realize this, we're not only embracing the homosexuality as a norm here, we're also exporting it to Kenya. We send $3 million of your tax dollars, of our tax dollars, to Kenya to $3 million tax dollars to Kenya to for the gay, lesbian,
transsexual,
that whole
gender
thing there. But what I could not believe was the fact that we had spent the United States tax dollars, $12 million for one party at the United States Embassy in Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
So we are, again, we're exporting to Africa now and other locations, but using our tax dollars to export our immorality.
It's we as a nation because we allow it. It is we as a government are the ones promoting it. The government being the Luciferian, Illuminati, one world order. They know exactly what they're doing. This has been in their plans: how to infiltrate, how to tear down, destroy society, destroy your ego, inflate your pride, get you hooked on trinkets and material things instead of what's important in this world, which is spirituality, compassion, love for others, charity, and those such things, hard work, the values that made this country the greatest and wealthiest nation, one of the greatest and most wealthy nations ever to be on this planet. So great was the fact of its individualism, the ability for government staying out of the business of the people and letting it grow and prosper. And then when government came back in, took control of the money, took control of the industry, and we see what happens. They have destroyed everything, and now we are on the verge of being a third world country. And as that happens, we have Fukushima radiation pouring still over our air on a daily basis. We have new diseases that are
these are laboratory diseases.
Right. Fireballs being seen in the sky all over the place. This year. There's a video from it's called Fireballs in Russia, July 2012. Fireballs in the sky in Russia. I saw that earlier. There have been reports of these orbs and fireballs at a pace that is so increasing that websites that monitor and document these sightings can't even update their sites within weeks because they're receiving so many reports of these weird phenomenons happening in the sky, right?
Signs of the times.
Whether they're military weather balloons or experimental aircraft, they're to us, signs in the sky, signs in the stars, signs in the sun, the different seasons, the weird weather we're having. Hurricane or a tropical storm, tropical depression, Ernesto is making its way south, floating across the Caribbean or soon to be there. It's going to make its way into the Gulf Coast. The waters are extremely warm because of the warm weather we've been having. If this system gets wrapped up into the Gulf Coast, look for a huge hurricane, possibly to hit anywhere from Florida to Mexico. And if it makes its way up in through the Gulf to the continental United States, kind of like Katrina did, the way the jet stream is going, look for it to stall out over there, as there's a big circle of pressure just, keeping things locked in there. Go check out the forecast from NOAA. They've got a lot on the hurricanes. You can also check out the Weather Channel and keep your eye on that hurricane because it looks like it could be a nasty one if it hits right.
Yeah.
But getting back to this H3N2 cases,
let's talk about biological things right now because I think folks we better be careful. We all watch this.
What's important here is in the first paragraph it says the number of variant swine flu H3N2 influenza cases in the U.S. has reached 16 in the past 3 weeks and 29 in the past year, prompting health officials to watch the virus closely for any increase in its now limited ability to spread from person to person, the Center for Disease Control said today. Now what this says is the number of variant swine flu origin H3N2 influenza cases has reached 16. I want to know, we had H1N1, or we had H5N1, H1N5, all these different strands, these mutated strands. We were warned about the mutated strands being not able to be vaccinated from.
That's right.
We were warned that these strands would be manipulated, these H1N1 would be manipulated by a few points here or there to be made man-made global catastrophe diseases, pandemics, biological pandemics. My question is, where are these mutated diseases coming from?
They're man-made.
They're not reporting where they're coming from. No. They're reporting that they're out there.
They're laboratory made. We've been able to verify that through our sources. In fact, through Steve's sources, these are Steve Quayle. They're being manufactured in laboratories, and they're actually being it's my understanding, and I don't have confirmation on this, but they're beta testing some of these. When I say beta testing, that's probably not the right way. They are looking to see in small areas to see what effects that there will be to humans on some of these.
Let me give you the recent reports, state-to-state reports here. We had one in Hawaii, 5 cases in Indiana, and 10 cases in Ohio. All but one of these, the 10th Ohio case, were reported previously. The CDC said all 5 Indiana cases were related to county fairs, and the 10 Ohio cases likewise were associated with fairs. They were saying that they tested pigs, and 11 pigs from 11 states tested positive for this type of virus. The virus may be circulating widely in U.S. swine at this time, the CDC says in a report released today. And it goes on to talk about a press conference they're going to have. But also with this, the Center for Disease Control is now preparing vaccines for the new swine flu. Only 29 cases of a new strain of swine flu have been identified over 2 years, but the CDC and Center for Prevention is making sure it's prepared should the H3N2 strain become more widespread. This virus is still principally a swine virus, but it doesn't seem to have onward spread. It's still not a human virus, Dr. Joseph Bree says from the CDC's Influenza Division. Even so, a H3N2 candidate vaccine has been prepared and clinical trials have been in planning for this year, he said. The reason the CDC is concerned about this particular virus is that it contains an element seen in the pandemic of 2009 swine flu strain, H1N1, which may make it more likely for the virus to spread from person to person.
That's
so
the key.
Double
that's
talk,
the key.
All the way back around from it's not really likely to spread from person to person, but we're going to make a bunch of vaccines in case it does, because it looks like something in this disease has the same characteristics as this other disease that will let it spread from people to people very easily.
And that person-to-person spread is what they're going for. That's the element of the beta test. And again, pardon my use of that expression. I don't really like that, but that's what they're looking for, is that human-to-human transmission ability. It's my understanding they have that, but they're watching to see how that plays out in small clusters and what have you.
Yeah.
Now I want to bring something up here, if I can. But did you?
No, I was just going to say. What you said about testing is they will put, they'll take a batch of chickenpox vaccines and throw two of them out of 1,000. We'll say throw the swine flu bug in there and release it into the public and to see what happens. I mean, they've been known to do this before.
Yes.
They've infected. The U.S. government came out recently and admitted to infecting 40,000 children in a South African country with an STD through trial vaccines.
That's
60 years ago, 40 years ago.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, they've been doing this forever. We are guinea pigs.
60 years ago.
We are their guinea pigs. We get the fluoride in the water, the radiation in the air, the processing chemicals in our milk and our food. It's a slow kill. We get the heavy metals. We are being attacked spiritually, physically, chemically, mentally, emotionally. It is coming at us all angles. Demonically, it is being attacked by our own government, our own people, our brothers, our fathers, our sisters, in some cases. And it is the last days as stated in the Bible, and we are seeing it unfold, and it is not fun. And especially it cannot be fun if you do not have your relationship and your future with the Lord settled now. And if you don't, I suggest that you talk to him and get that in order, because we do not know how much time we have left. We are never promised a tomorrow. We are lucky to be here today.
Look,
and as long as you have breath, you still have a chance. And that is the most important thing to remember, that use that chance to make things right.
There's just so much news coming at us all at once, and, it's either kind of duck or bleed here. You've got so many headlines, and I ask that each and every one of you please pray for your own spiritual discernment to look through the murkiness of the headlines and identify the important ones. And we're going to try. This is what we try to do. We try to help you do that. Find the important things to focus on. And one of the important things is this: this Fast and Furious investigation. We had talked about this in the weeks previous, but I just want to mention this. A report came out that prompted the resignation this week of an ATF official. This report was via Senator Grassley's investigation. Well, okay, here's the deal with this. The deputy director of the ATF during Operation Fast and Furious Tuesday resigned. Okay. William Hoover, he was basically in the crosshairs of investigators. He resigned. And 4 other ATF agents resigned as well, officials resigned as well. William Newell, William McMahon, Mark Chatt, I believe, and Kenneth Melson. Kenneth Melson had turned whistleblower, if you will, or attempted to, or maybe give half the information. But here's the important thing on Fast and Furious that you need to understand. There's 2 other reports that are forthcoming. This investigation, the second report, 2 more reports are forthcoming. The second report is going to detail on how political figures in Obama's administration were involved in Fast and Furious. And the next report, I'm sorry, that's going to be the final one, and then the next report is going to be. No, I'm sorry, that's the second one. Boy, I'll tell you what, it's Friday. I'm glad for that. Not that it means anything, but the final report is going to address the administration's role in this. The second report to follow is going to be how the officials of the Justice Department headquarters within the office of the deputy, within the office of the Attorney General, their role. But it's odd because Congress is allowing the Justice Department time to give information. That one report is being hung up by information from the very agency which is being investigated, that is the Justice Department. If you read Ulsterman, if you know about Ulsterman, the Ulsterman report, if you read the Ulsterman report, their White House insider says something in that interview this week. I think it was yesterday. I'm not sure, the day before. That Eric Holder is still within the Justice Department. Don't forget, Holder is a Clinton holdout. Okay, this Fast and Furious traces directly to Holder, directly to the Clintons, directly to Obama, but all the media is saying to you, all the headlines are saying right now is the headlines are blaring that the White House had nothing to do with Fast and Furious, according to a congressional report. Now that's like giving one chapter of a book and not giving the rest. One chapter of a 3-chapter book and saying, well, look, this, here it is. Here's the book. No, it's not the whole book. There's 2 more reports. So the bottom line on this is that the congressional investigation has yet to identify Eric Holder's role in this, or Obama's role in this, or Clinton's role in this.
Yeah, forget the congressional whatever, and bring in the sheriffs and arrest Eric Holder, arrest Obama, put these criminals in handcuffs, put them on trial, even though I shouldn't say they don't deserve a trial. I'll give them a trial because even though they take those rights away from other people, I would say give them a taste of their own medicine. But, since there is enough evidence to convict Eric Holder on perjury and trading with the enemy and committing treason against the United States, since there is enough evidence of Obama being a criminal traitor committing treason against the United States by his signature on the NDAA alone, he should be imprisoned. Eric Holder should be imprisoned alone for his perjury in front of Congress. Every member of Congress who voted for the NDAA, every member of the Senate who voted for the NDAA should be put on trial and imprisoned for their role as traitors of this nation.
Yeah, and get this. I mean, if you think that's bad, Fast and Furious, the TSA chief says that Americans should expect some airport screeners to be criminal.
We should take all TSA agents and send them to North Korea.
Now, look, I can't make this stuff up, okay? From sleeping on the job to running prostitution rings off the clock, agents in the TSA have been making headlines just all across the United States, okay, for the wrong reasons. But listen to this. John Helinsky, who's a TSA deputy, just shrugged off the criticism of his employees at a hearing this week, saying that Americans should not expect, more from their airport screeners than they would from the average guy on the street. Meaning that, hey, some of them are going to be criminals. Deal with it. Basically, that's what this guy says, the TSA deputy administrator.
Can you believe that? I cringe when I hear the word TSA. And I cringe even more listening to this guy's statements.
I mean, look.
It invokes an anger emotion in me that is probably a sin, how angry I get at when I think about,
we have to be very careful at this,
and talk about the TSA. I mean, literally, if I see a TSA agent touching a woman, a child, a man inappropriately, I would want to physically attack them. Honestly.
We just can't, we have to, look.
It's a human response, and I know it needs to be controlled, but that's my feelings. When I see stories of the TSA touching little boys, about dumping the person's ashes, relatives, pulling catheters out of old people twice, the same old person twice, letting the diapers fall off people falling over.
It's an attack on the integrity and character.
Sexually molesting women and children. It makes me so angry. I feel like I could physically remove the TSA by kidnapping them all, putting them on a ship, and putting them off into the Pacific Ocean somewhere. Maybe they'd all be better off living on the land of Hawaii together, but we wouldn't want to plague Hawaii with such a sick disease such as the TSA.
Well,
we need to get these people out of our country, and a way to do this is like how the Chick-fil-A thing went down. There was an attack made on somebody who spoke out for what they believed in, and it happened to be something biblical that they believed in. And the country rallied around Chick-fil-A as a business, went and spent money there, showed the Rahm Emanuels of the world that their, negative, ungodly talk was not going to be tolerated or stop them from supporting this business. They went and supported the business. Chick-fil-A broke all records of sales this week that they had any prior week, and it was because of not what they said as a business owner, but because of the response it got from the politicians. Now, if we did this with the TSA, with other companies, if we didn't shop at Walmart because of where they got their slave labor goods from, if we didn't go fly because of the TSA, but I have to fly, it's my job. Well, tell your job to send someone else. I know times are tight and people need their economy, but we have their money and their means. But there has to come a point in time where you stop sacrificing your personal liberties, your personal safety, your own body, your constitutional rights, and say, no, you want me to go on this business trip from, Boston to Los Angeles, you go get groped out of TSA. You do it if you want me to do it so bad. Otherwise, get the group internet call so we can have the group meeting. What's the company that does the meeting so you don't have to fly? Well, you know what I'm saying. If enough of us take an action when some issue comes up like this, we can make a difference. But what happens? We have a national opt-out day, the TSA backs off for a little bit, and then the American people go back to sleep. Now we still have the TSA expanding into more areas. They're going to football, the NHL. Don't go to sporting events. My buddy called me the other day and asked me if I wanted to go to the Bills home opener, because I'm a Bills fan, when I would follow football. And I said, I'm never going to an NFL game again as long as they're partnered with the Department of Homeland Security. You're crazy.
Yep.
And he said, you know what, that's a good point. I shouldn't go either. And who knows if he'll go or not. But this is the attitude we need to have.
But yeah, and who's got the money to spend $40 on it, or 50 or whatever?
70, 80, 90.
I cannot justify.
It was 40 when we used to go.
I thought it was ridiculous back then. Way back in the.
He used to take me to see Dan Marino and Jim Kelly back in the good old days of football.
When was that?
When we were young. When I was young, 94, 95, 96.
Yeah, I can't.
But I mean, really, since I've been doing the radio show, I can't follow sports anymore. I was a sports fanatic. We'd go on road trips. I'd listen to sports radio the whole time.
I'd rip out I wanted to rip out the radio so bad.
Jim Rome, Mike and Mike in the morning, those ESPN shows.
Oh man.
That now I could care less about. I haven't turned on ESPN. Well, I haven't had the means to turn on ESPN in a while. But even when I had cable, I didn't watch
the radio. Okay,
I have not watched ESPN. For years. I used to watch SportsCenter every morning. Once I woke up, once I saw what was important, my life started to change. Right. The things I started to do started to change, and that should go for everybody. People say we're watchmen. Steve Quayle's a watchman. Everybody listening to this show is a watchman. Everybody who's willing to speak out against wrong, against evil, is a watchman. Everybody who's doing their part to make society a better place, a place where biblical principles, are law, is a watchman in themselves. And we need more people to be watchmen, because obviously we don't have enough looking at the direction our country's headed in.
And I'll tell you one thing: it's you got to hit tonight before you go to bed. Hit your knees, get on your knees. And I'll tell you, as Greg Evenson said on Wednesday's program, I believe that's an act of submission. And I'll tell you something, it makes a difference when you are on your knees and you're asking God for your discernment. Because, folks, the next 90 days are going to tell a lot. If things happen the way we see them happening, or have the potential to happen, the next 90 days are going to be critical.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you've got 96 days to election or 95 days to election.
And don't let it stop you in either way, preparing yourself spiritually and physically for something coming or not coming. If you think something might not happen, don't stop preparing. If you think something's coming, you can try to do more, but don't let it worry you. Don't be worried about what's coming, because, we need to do is make sure that we have our relationship with the Lord right. And as long as we do that, we don't need to worry about how much food we have stored, how much ammunition, guns, etc.
We do in a way,
because we are eternally saved. We are eternally protected. Death is promised to everyone on this earth. We will all encounter it at one time or another. I'm just saying, though, the most important preparations are those with the Lord. No, I'm not saying do not prepare.
Okay, thank you.
Prepare with the Lord first. Let Him guide you in the rest of your preparedness.
And I agree with that, because man, you could die. You have a heart attack tonight and not be with us in the morning. I could do the same thing, and it doesn't matter how much food I have in my pantry or how many bullets I have in my magazine. Okay, that's just the way it is. So you've got to really, and as a man to the men out there, again, from man to man, or as a man to the women out there, look, I just ask you to really find in your heart to hit your knees if you're physically able to, get on your knees tonight and ask, and pray for your salvation. Ask for forgiveness. Ask for repentance. And I'm not good at this. Okay, I'm not good at that. Okay, I mean, I do my best. I muddle through the prayers. But see, here's the thing. I really believe we're at the end here. I really believe that we've got.
Yeah, whether it's a year or 10 years or 20 years, we're in the end time.
I don't
in the Bible.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter. I say 90 days or 95 days because that's the window of the
95 days till an event, not
right.
10 days.
The drums of war are beating in the Middle East. The Middle East is on fire. We've got the economy ready to melt down. You've got the BRIC countries. They're hoarding gold and silver. This fiat currency that we have cannot sustain the debt. We cannot sustain the debt. So all of this is going to come to some sort of climax at some point. It's called blowback. I mean, that's what I would call it, blowback. And the LIBOR scandal. That's huge.
There's still some connections with that and the shooting. Yeah.
And we've been silent on this, but only because of trying to tie some ends together. But our silence will be broken once we have some verifications. But look, folks. I mean, if you can't see the handwriting on the wall, I don't know what to say, But even if nothing happens in 90 days, the prayers, the getting on your knees, the act of submission, and so look at current events. When you watch television, the TV news, if you do, or if you watch the internet news, or if you watch programs like ours, or if you watch Alex Jones, or if you watch other programs, do it with spiritual discernment, please. And that's because that's everything. And as you said, tomorrow is not promised to us. And even if you're taken home by a heart attack, at least you've got that. And the other thing too is make sure, folks. Look, you don't need the support or even the approval of your family members. I've been getting emails to this effect. Well, my wife, she just doesn't. Yeah, well, something. Your wife doesn't have to be with you in terms of preparations, on the same page with you. It'd be nice if she was, but take the lead. Do it quietly. Do it with confidence. Just take the lead, and get your household ready. And if you're a parent, take the lead with your children. If they're old enough to understand, if they're adults, take the lead. If they don't want to listen, okay, but you know what? Just act. Instead of trying to tell them, just be the example. Just act by example, or show them by example. And if nothing happens, oh, praise God. But if something does happen, and it will, it's just a matter of time. If it's not 90 days, it'll be at some point in the very near future. But it will happen because the economy cannot be sustained.
Yeah, no, it can't be sustained.
And this war thing. Look at Syria. It's already happening.
Yeah, and then Iran is the big indicator. When that happens, we know time is short because there's only a few more movement pieces on their chessboard after that, and then it's the end game, the end planned game, the agenda of the Luciferian New World Order will be implemented, and then we will make those that are left here.
90 seconds.
Time will make the choice. Will you take the mark of the beast, or will you die fighting or giving up your life for the word of the Lord and the faith in Jesus Christ? And I know I will be one not to take the chip, and I know most of our listeners out there, except maybe a few of the federal agents that chime in from time to time, will be on the same side with me, and that gives me comfort.
And folks, pray, make your prayers bold, make your questions bold, and make your just be bold.
60 seconds.
Be bold in your prayer to God, because I believe in being bold, I guess. So, with that, I want to wish everyone a very good weekend. I want to thank you for watching. If you're watching via the Christians United Broadcasting Network, that's Christians United Broadcasting Network. We will put a permanent link up on our website to that, so you can see us. And if you're just listening to this via Blog Talk, we want to thank you for listening and thank you for spending your nights, your evenings with us, and God bless you. Thank you so much for helping us grow.
Hey, I want to say to all the people who donated money, we were able to upgrade our systems, our broadcasting tools, and things that we are going to utilize to be able to make professional videos.
10 seconds.
Our accounts on Skype and many other things. We can't thank you enough. God bless you.
Have a good
and God bless all the listeners.
Good night.